When I came on board last September, I just came on board after Leonard. Declan had just gone from being a one-man band to a three-person team, as we are now, and I said, like any good communications person would, yeah, I get the eInvoicing, I get that. Where's the product that you want me to communicate? And the answer was, well, there isn't a product. And I said, okay. I had tech background, and I had done some technology PR before my work in the public sector. And so I was familiar with not having a product. So I said, okay, where's the standard? No standard. That'll come next month. Okay, that's fine. I'm used to that. Where are the specifications? No specifications. Right, they're going to come next year. Okay, so what have we got? Well, we have a goal. And our goal was to engage with all the stakeholders so that they understood the obligations set down by the European Directive, how they were relevant to Ireland, the national implementation model that we were looking to roll out, and the action that they needed to take. And there was a very strong belief within the team of the importance of supporting the public bodies in reaching compliance with that short time frame in mind. And also part of a goal or an activity really to communicate the existence of the framework that we were looking to develop, and then the availability of it when it came online, and support materials. Now, thankfully, the following month, the standard was launched, and around that, the European Commission and the industry ran a number of events, and I was very fortunate with the team to attend those events and completely immerse myself in e-invoicing and what it means and what the obligations of the directive mean, and work with our really valuable steering group to understand the public sector and the situation regarding invoicing and e-invoicing in the public sector. So we took all of that back inside the OGP into communication strategy workshops. And what came apparent to us very quickly is that regardless of where you are, where you're coming to the e-invoicing, whether you're a service provider, you are a public body, there's really three phases that we all have to go through. Some less painful than others, you'll be happy to hear. The first phase really is the awareness phase, becoming aware that there's a directive, the obligations, the timeline that's in place, and the role for suppliers. And as we've touched on earlier today, in Ireland, there's no obligation on a supplier to send an e-invoice at this time. And then the next stage that you move to is the understanding stage, and that's in two parts. Understanding the elements of the directive, really understanding what the obligations are, the European norm, the standard, and the e-delivery networks that are out there. And thankfully, everybody in the room who spent the last couple of hours listening to our experts, you've made that gap, I think. You've made that jump. Your understanding is very good now in respect to the European Directive. The second part of the understanding piece is your homework, is your take home today, and that is to go back to your organisations and really understand the processes that are involved. And speaking from somebody who embarked on this time last year, the public body that I was involved with, I was working with at the time, the Pensions Authority, we were tasked with looking at our ERP system, and I headed up that project. And really, when you sit down and start analysing where the invoices are coming from, who's involved, you start to get a real appreciation of the administrative burden, what it's going to mean for your organisation, the change management piece. And it's unbelievably valuable exercise, because you won't be able to progress if you don't understand what's happening in your own organisation. So if you know what the directive's requiring of you, and you know the current situation in your own organisation, the middle piece is how are you going to get there, and what service provider or what solution do you need to be compliant and to maximise the opportunities that e-invoicing is offering on a more straight-through processing perspective. So then you're in a really good position to plan and to take action. And to draw down the services that will be available from the framework. So we have a number of channels that we're using to communicate with all of the stakeholders. You're in this room today because we've either reached out to our steering group members to get the right contacts, or through the shared services solutions across the sector, the public sector, or through some of the more central points, the sectorial communication points. Likewise, with the service providers, we have a number of channels, very formal channels with their representative body, the NSSI, AI, and a formal route through e-tenders, and that request for information process, and then eventually going to tender that Declan mentioned earlier. And thankfully, OGP have been very good to us in sharing all of their communication channels with us, and they will continue to do that. They're doing that for us on the suppliers front as well. And again, we're working with the suppliers through their representative groups and through the SME advisory group with the Minister for State. But really, the portal for all information to do with e-invoicing, regardless of what element stakeholder you are, is the website. And again, the OGP have given us a whole section on their website, ogp.gov.ie/e-invoicing, where we're uploading all of the information. And today's event is being recorded, so we're looking to share through that site the presentations from today, and also some of the videos. And we're looking to create a community out of this audience today that we will email directly with updates. So you don't need to worry about trying to get onto your shared service. If we have updates and you've attended this event, we are looking to directly send you out information over the course of the next 12 months. So as Declan mentioned earlier, you've seen this slide. The communication strategy has been developed to map awareness, understanding, planning and action onto the activities of the programme, so that all that preparation that public bodies need to do under the understanding piece will be able to have been achieved by the time the framework becomes available, and you can start drawing down the services that you understand that you will need. This slide is pretty much doing the same thing. It's just giving you an idea of the communication activities that we're going to undertake, how they fit into awareness, understanding and action, and how they're mapped to the framework and the policy work of the e-invoicing team in the OGP. Our first tool or our first piece of information is the documents that you have, that checklist that Martin was so kind about earlier. And this is really, I suppose it exemplifies what we're trying to do. We're trying to bring you on the journey. We're trying to support you through each of the different stages with information and materials. And the place that we are going to provide that is primarily on the website. So please go check out our section of the site for any updates. And if you have particular queries, you can go to your shared services solution, but you can also contact us directly on our email address. I think from today, we are now all one step closer to reaching the compliance deadline. I think it's been a very informative day. I think some of the examples show that e-invoicing, although it's new in this country, is not new in Europe. It's tried and tested. The business case has great examples throughout all of Europe. And I think for us in Ireland, the benefit is we are standing on the shoulders of giants. They have gone before us. They've made the mistakes. They've seen the way forward, and we have things now such as the PEPL e-delivery. We have a European norm, a European standard that we can follow. So a lot of work has been done for us, and as a result, the deadline is tight, but it is achievable. And I think the most important thing is that we go from here and that we share our knowledge and our experiences with others in the public sector to bring them on the journey as well, and to share the knowledge that we have, and to share the implementation model, the approach that Ireland are taking, which I think Martin and Christian have really endorsed in their presentations today. So your homework, as I said, is to go back to your organisations and really understand the processes that you have in place. what it means for you. Stay in contact with us. We will try and stay in contact with you so that we can all be ready for the compliance date of the 18th of April 2019. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here, and thanks again to all our speakers.